Please welcome Dr. Eliezer Gonzalez.
Before we got into it, I wanted to show you some family snaps, if you like. Well, not really. It's Good News Unlimited mission, which is happening right now. You see, you will have known perhaps that in recent times my daughter Rebecca has been seeking sponsorship for a mission trip to Uganda. And there you go. And we're calling it the New Birth Mission. This is a collaboration with Spring of Hope in Uganda, not for profit there. My daughter Rebecca has just turned 19. She's a student midwife, and Good News Unlimited has sent them as volunteers to Uganda, where for a whole month they are giving mothers antenatal and postnatal care. In addition to that, they're doing evangelism in different towns and villages in different ways. And I wanted to just give you a brief rundown because I know that some of you have been so kind and generous in sponsoring Rebecca, and Amy was also sponsored through her own friends and her church. And I think you'll like to know what she's up to. She's just about halfway through the trip. There's Rebecca and Amy, and this is them as they left at the airport. This is when they landed in Uganda. A little bit different to Australia, and they are really working in rural areas, not even in the capital city. This is what the roads are like, and Rebecca tells me that the car they're driving around, the windshield's all cracked, the windows don't wind up. It's got to be started with a rock to the alternator every morning. It stops by the side of the road to have a rest whenever it wants to. And the brakes make a lot of noise, and it sounds like it's coughing when you turn the steering wheel. Add that to those roads, it becomes interesting. But everywhere you go, there's beautiful people and lots of children. Of course, being Westerners and female, I guess that adds to it. The crowds of people gather around them wherever they go, calling out, "Musungu, Musungu," which Musungu is me and some of you white people, see, in the language of Uganda. So here's Rebecca doing some of her midwifery work. There's a very high rate of disability in infants in Uganda because of the poor antenatal care and nutrition and a range of factors. I couldn't work out what this was for a long time until I realised that it's an expectant mother lying there, and Rebecca is using instruments that she wouldn't normally use here in Australia because we have more sophisticated equipment, all very good for her. This is the part of the team that we have there at the moment. This young man is Pastor Bonifresh Muholo, just out of seminary, and we've just employed him on a half-time basis as our East Africa evangelism coordinator. So this is one of his first assignments, to help look after the girls. This is, and to preach. This is Moses, who's our driver. I don't know who this young man is, but he looks like someone with that smile you'd like to get to know. Let's say Amy and Rebecca. Just in the last few days, Rebecca has just finished running a Christian youth conference for over 100 young people drawn from all over the area. She wasn't meant to be the main speaker. In fact, we had asked one of our speaking team to go to Uganda, and being Rebecca's father and Rebecca being young, I want to make sure she was protected as well, and so they could be both speakers. That person said yes, and then they said no because they believed that the Lord was telling them no. Okay, so we scrambled and we asked Pastor Bonifresh to fulfil that preaching role as well because he's a brilliant preacher. The day that the conference began, Pastor Bonifresh was taken very ill with severe stomach pains, so that he had to be rushed hours away to a hospital in Kampala where he was admitted. He was out of action for the whole time. It seems that the Lord wanted Rebecca to step up because she was the sole speaker and she has never done anything like this before. It was a good crowd, as you can see, of young people from all over the place. There's Rebecca and Amy in the hall standing with the people. And there was 2 or 3 days ago, a baptism. These are some of the people who were baptised. We don't know how many people were baptised because, in the end, because apart from the people who said that they wanted to be baptised, there were about 20 of them at least, when the baptisms were actually being held, there was a rush of other young people who had been attending the meetings and who had been touched by the gospel, who also wanted to give their lives to Christ. So we don't know how many there were. It wasn't counted. This lady here, young lady, she was told by her family that if she went that day and was baptised, she'd never be allowed back home. That was it. And she came, and there she is. So this was the day of the baptism. The baptism was held at the headwaters of the River Nile, right where it begins. You know, that place that became a curse to the people of Egypt, through which God, worked deliverance for his people, was became blessed waters of deliverance for lots of young people. Isn't that wonderful? Rebecca was asked, and I found this amazing, I only found out this morning, she was asked if she would get into the water and do the baptisms. Given that Rebecca is female, and this is a very traditional culture, given that she's young, she's not a pastor, she hasn't been ordinated and all those sorts of things, I found that amazing, just a mark of the respect that the people had for her. But she refused. And as her father, I think that's very wise, because Pastor David Kayumba tells me the story of one of his pastor friends who was taken by a crocodile some years back while doing a baptism in Africa. So I'm glad that she didn't actually conduct them. So there you go. Isn't that wonderful? There were scenes of great joy. And even though Rebecca didn't do the baptisms, everybody wanted her to bless them and pray with them before the baptism. So that's what's happening there. And even Amy, the student midwife, is getting in on the action and just blessing these beautiful people. Isn't that wonderful? Just before they're baptised. So thank you to all of you who sponsored Rebecca. She hasn't quite made the tally that she needed, but we let her go anyway. She'll make it up in due course. You can see some wonderful fruit already from your sacrifice. She still has, and with Amy, a couple of weeks to go there, doing a lot more midwifery, and just testifying to those women and those communities, and running gospel meetings in people's homes and in different community areas. So please, I ask you, and not just because Rebecca's my daughter, please pray for them. Thank you.
To help you understand God's Word in a whole new way, go to goodnewsunlimited.com. You can sign up there to get your free devotional delivered to you each day. This program has been paid for by the partners and friends of Good News Unlimited. Word spreads fast.